They told you freedom begins at 62, but they never told you what you'd lose to get it. Every ad, every retirement expert, every smiling promise points to 62 as your finish line. But what if that line was never meant for you to cross? Because behind every policy, behind every chart and bonus, there's a quiet design, a system built to reward obedience, not independence. At 62, they don't hand you freedom. They lease it back, one smaller check at a time. And while you celebrate an early victory, the system quietly celebrates you. This isn't retirement, it's financial conditioning. And today, we break it. Because the real question isn't when you retire, it's who profits when you do. Part 1. The Promise of 62. They told you 62 was the dream, the finish line after 4 decades of work, the number that whispered freedom. You picture the first morning without an alarm clock, the paycheck replaced by peace, the world finally slowing down. But here's what they never said. 62 isn't a finish line. It's an entry point, the beginning of a contract you didn't know you signed. They market it like a reward, but it's really a discount, a lifetime trade-off disguised as a gift. Because when you claim early, you don't just lose money, you lose power, the power of patience, the power of time, the power to choose when you stop playing by someone else's rules. Freedom isn't about leaving work, it's about leaving control. And at 62, most people don't retire. They just hand their freedom back, one signature at a time. Part 2. The 8% Illusion. They call it a bonus, a reward for waiting. 8% more every year you hold off. But it's not a bonus. It's a refund for not falling into their trap. That 8% isn't generosity. It's recovery. A quiet admission that they were ready to pay you less, hoping you wouldn't notice. Think about it. Where else can you earn 8% a year, guaranteed, with zero risk? Nowhere. Not Wall Street, not your 401k, not even the banks that lecture you about smart saving. They tell you to delay, but they never explain why that delay exists. Because it's not about your growth, it's about their gain. When you wait, you break the pattern. You force the system to return what it wanted to keep. That's not patience. That's power. Part 3. Penalty-free. Tax-free. They told you that after 59 and a half, you could finally touch your money. No penalties, no fees. Freedom at last. But no penalty doesn't mean no price. Because the moment you start taking it out, every dollar becomes taxable income. That freedom they promised is just another doorway to a different kind of control. You escaped the penalty, but you walked straight into taxation. The more you take, the more they take back. Your income goes up, your Medicare premiums rise, and suddenly, the system charges you for the same money you already earned once. Penalty-free was never tax-free. It was permission with strings attached. And when you think you've beaten the system, that's usually when it's winning quietly. Part 4. The healthcare gap. From 62 to 65, the system goes silent. No Medicare, no safety net. You're free, but you're on your own. That's the part they never show in the commercials. The years between work and coverage. The years where every doctor's visit feels like a debt. A single retiree can pay $1,000 a month. A couple can see $30,000 a year vanish just to stay insured. That's not planning. That's punishment for leaving early. You thought you were buying time. But what you really bought was a 3-year toll road with no refund at the end. While they speak of independence, they quietly invoice you for it. And as you try to breathe easier, the cost of that breath reminds you, freedom was never meant to be cheap. Part 5. The earnings limit trap. No one told you that freedom had a ceiling. But once you claim early, it does. In 2025, if you earn more than $22,320, they take $1 back for every $2 you make above it. You don't lose it forever, but you lose the control over when it returns. And that's the part they never explain. They say it's not a punishment. They call it an adjustment. But tell me, when your check gets smaller while your bills stay the same, does that feel like adjustment or control? The system doesn't hate workers. It hates independence. Because every dollar you earn outside their timeline is a reminder that you don't need their permission. And for a system built on compliance, nothing is more dangerous than a person who earns on their own terms. Part 6. The psychology of early. The word early sounds positive. Efficient, smart, strategic. That's why they use it. Because early feels like you're getting ahead. When in reality it means you're arriving where they expected. Right on time, inside their design. Every message that tells you to retire early isn't selling peace. It's selling predictability. The system doesn't care when you stop working. It only cares that you stop thinking. Because a person who questions timing might start questioning everything else, and that's dangerous. So they give you comfort words, early, safe, secure, and wrap the trap in calm language. They don't need you to fail. They just need you to stop asking why. And that's how obedience becomes invisible. When it starts sounding like good advice. Part 7. The illusion of safety. It's the word that sells everything. Insurance, retirement plans, compliance. But safety was never about protection. It was about control. They don't sell you peace. They rent it to you. As long as you follow the rules, as long as you stay predictable. Every promise of stability is a quiet reminder that someone else is holding the key. They tell you it's for your protection. But what they really protect is their design. Because true safety doesn't come from a policy, a pension, or a government guarantee. It comes from clarity, from knowing what the system is and what it's not. The moment you see that truth, you stop being managed by fear and start being guided by awareness. That's the difference between feeling safe and being free. Part 8. The story of Linda. Linda was 63 when she realized the plan she trusted was never built for her. She did everything right, worked hard, saved, followed the advice. Claim early, they said. Enjoy life. And she did. For a moment. Until the numbers started shrinking. Until her premiums doubled. Until the freedom she was promised turned into a new kind of dependency. Every month, the checks came smaller. Every bill came larger. And every time she asked why, the answer was always the same. Because those are the rules. That's when she stopped believing in the system and started believing in herself. She learned that real independence doesn't come from permission. It comes from awareness. And awareness changes everything. Linda didn't find freedom at 62. She built it at 63. The moment she stopped asking for approval and started taking control. Part 9. Dependence versus awareness. Dependence waits. Awareness acts. Dependence asks for permission. Awareness takes responsibility. Dependence fears the system. Awareness studies it. Dependence follows rules. Awareness learns how they're made. Dependence calls fear safety. Awareness calls it what it is, control. That's why most people never leave the loop, because dependence feels easier than awareness. It feels quieter. It feels safer. But that quiet comes at a price. The price of never knowing how much more you could have had. Once you understand the difference, you can't go back. You can't unsee what's been hidden in plain sight. Awareness isn't rebellion. It's evolution. It's the moment you stop waiting for change and realize you were the change all along. Part 10. The vision line. Freedom isn't a number. It's not 62 or 65 or 70. It's a moment. The moment you stop waiting and start deciding. Because the system won't change, but your awareness can. Freedom doesn't come from policy. It comes from perspective, from understanding how control works and how to step outside it. Most people spend their lives chasing security. A smaller check, a predictable plan, a promise that someone else will handle the future. But the future doesn't belong to the obedient. It belongs to the aware. You can follow every rule they made, or you can start learning how they made them. The line between those two paths is the vision line. And crossing it doesn't take money. It takes courage. Because retirement isn't built by waiting. It's built by the decision you make today. If you're still here, then you already know this isn't just another video. It's a mirror. And maybe for the first time, you're not afraid to look at it. Because you've seen what the system hides. The small rules that steal big futures. The illusion of safety, the price of silence, and the cost of obedience. You don't need permission to be free. You just need awareness and the courage to use it. So comment the word awareness. Not for the algorithm, but for yourself. Because awareness shared becomes awareness multiplied. Share this message with someone still living by the old script. Subscribe to @XRP Today USA, where we expose the design, rewrite the rules, and rebuild retirement on truth. Remember this. Retirement isn't built by waiting. It's built by the decision you make today.